The Way of Mercy Monk is emblematic of every bad habit WotC makes as a design team for D&D 5e and exemplifies their poor writing skills. Fans of the channel know, I don't like this subclass. I've been not so subtly hinting at it for some time now. In this video, I'm gonna tell you all about the Mercy Monk and why I am the biggest hater of this subclass. So what is this subclass? Imagine a karate plague doctor who heals people but also likes to kick them in the head with energy that withers your body and soul. Sounds cool, right? Don't worry, it gets worse. So much worse, I actually have to put up a trigger warning because of the weird writing choices WotC made. I am not kidding. If these topics make you uncomfortable, I have left timestamps in the video where you can skip right over these subjects and get back to the normal D&D stuff. If you are just listening to this video while washing dishes or something, you will hear this noise when we are about to talk about these subjects. Look, I don't want to talk about this kind of stuff. This is a D&D channel, but WotC apparently did want to talk about this kind of stuff, and I need to mock them for that. There are 4 reasons why I hate Mercy Monk like WotC hates treating their employees well. Those reasons are 1, power creep, 2, the poison, 3, the weird tone-deaf theming, and 4, we really need to eat the rich. Let's start with point number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Power Creep and D&D. I'm your host, Bone Wizard, and tonight we're gonna invalidate all the other monk subclasses by adding some brain-dead features. My guest tonight is Flurry of Healing and Harm. Give him a round of applause, everybody!
Fuck you. While our talented custodial crew cleans up all this blood and brain matter, we want to thank this video's sponsor, Boot.dev. Boot.dev is an online coding platform that helps you learn how to code through gamifying the experience. Do you guys remember games like Math Blaster, Carmen Sandiego, and Zubinis? Boot.dev is like that, but for learning coding languages like Python, Java, Linux, and many, many more languages. It's edutainment that can help you build the skills you need to write a program, design a website, or even make a video game. You could be the one to make Zubinis remastered in 4K. Imagine the pizza stump guy in Unreal Engine 5. But what if you have an interest in coding, but have absolutely zero experience? Well, you would be in the same boat as me. I have no experience in coding. When they asked if I wanted to learn Python, I just said Burmese or Sumatran short-tailed. I don't know nothing about coding, but even I was able to follow along with these lessons. They make it like a puzzle game. I was having fun while learning a useful skill. Not as cool as a 16-foot-long snake, but knowledge of a coding language is much more helpful in the workplace. I should be sad because the snake ate someone, but I did just hit level 3. So today wasn't all bad. Not sure if Boot.dev is right for you? Well, they got a 30-day, no questions asked refund policy. So if it's not for you, you can get your money back. Go to Boot.dev and use my promo code BONEWIZARD, no spaces, all one word, to get 25% off your entire first year of Boot.dev. That's promo code BONEWIZARD for 25% off your entire first year. Thank you to Boot.dev for sponsoring this video. Power creep. So Flurry of Healing and Harm, what does it do? To explain that, we have to explain their level 3 feature, Hand of Harm. Once per turn, when Mercy Monk kicks a creature, they can spend a key to do some extra necrotic damage. So it's basically like a Paladin's Smite, except instead of burning your soul with holy fire, it withers and decays your body. And also withers and decays your soul. The soul of their enemies withers away, like someone working in the hospice care unit at a hospital, taking care of people whose lives will soon be gone, and yet they suffer with aches and pains anyway. It's not fair. You're not sure what's worse for them, the chronic pain or the question of when. Sorry, that was really sad. Well, I'm very glad this is D&D, where we don't need to think about such dark subject material. Can you imagine if such a thing was forced into our escapism? That would be really, really fucking tone deaf. By the way, for anyone who needs to hear it, you do matter. You might not believe me, but it is true. Anyway, Hand of Harm is fine, I have no problem with it. But at level 11, this feature gets upgraded to cost 0 key when you use your Flurry of Blows. The 5.5 version put a limit on how often you could use this free Monk Smite. But the 5.0 version? Nope! Just free extra damage every single time you use your Flurry of Blows. Features like this suck. It's just lazy game design. You see a lot of features like this in subclasses from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and books thereafter. It's not like Dragon Sorcerer, where you get extra damage for playing in a very specific and narrow way, or Samurai Fighter getting an extra attack for foregoing advantage. It's just a boring damage increase at no cost. So this feature is just, I
do more damage than the other monk subclasses. It's just bigger number. Which sucks so much if you want it to be another subclass. Why pick a 4 elements monk when this one does way more damage, way more often, for way less ki? So character creation becomes less of a choice between living out this or that fantasy, and more, do I go with what I think is cool, or go with what is actually good? And a bunch of subclasses are designed like this, so if one person in your group wants to play an older subclass, and someone else wants to be a newer subclass, good luck, Mr. Dungeon Master! Have fun balancing a Rune Knight and an Astral Monk paired with a Banneret Fighter and a 4 elements monk. I'm sure that'll be very easy. And the question between picking a cool subclass and picking an actually good one is not something that should be asked in a well-designed system. Heck, that's the main reason this channel exists. And the most frustrating part about this was this subclass power imbalance was an intentional design choice. The 2014 version of Monk is not great. People were not happy with it. Its damage output was low and it burned through ki too fast. You can disagree with that and yell at me until your diaper is full, but that's the reality that many fans believed and voiced, and WotC agreed with them. This was a problem among all the monk subclasses that came out before 2020. So WotC made 2 subclasses published in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything that addressed these issues: the Astral Self Monk and the Mercy Monk. These 2 subclasses were made to be more ki efficient and had higher damage outputs. And if you played the 2014 Monk with these subclasses, it was pretty good. A lot of the fans' issues with Monk were solved for these brand new monks. It didn't resolve the issues with any of the monk subclasses that came before these. You could have just boosted the whole class to be stronger. That's what you should have done. Then every subclass could be good. But nope, they just released these subclasses and some optional features that don't fix the problem. Way to go, guys! Thankfully, they did address a bunch of the issues monks had when they released the 2024 version of the game. I mean, there are still tons of issues with the system as a whole, like a lot, but it was just a really nearsighted mistake to make in the first place. And I don't know, man. I think if you goof up that badly, you shouldn't charge people in an attempt to fix your own mistake, you know? If only there was a way to not have to pay extra for something you should have had as a customer in the first place. Oh, hey, Swashbuckler Rogue. Yarr. Anyway, when you start giving damage upgrades to some subclasses and not the ones that came before it, and you do that not just for a single class, but a bunch of other classes, it's going to create a balance problem at your table. To WotC's credit, they did give a damage upgrade to the 5.5 Monk, and they realized they couldn't let Mercy Monk have Flurry of Healing and Harm as it was, because it would be too strong with both damage upgrades as they were, so they put a limit on how many times they could use their free Monk Smite. Now, the Hand of Harm upgrade is not unlimited, but has some free extra uses, except those uses are tied to the Hand of Healing upgrade that comes from the same feature. Even though those are 2 separate abilities, it's really clunky. It lacks the oomph of the original. Now it's just a pool of 3d10 plus your wisdom modifier to use for extra healing or damage. Not really level 11 worthy in my opinion. It's also still boring. Bigger number. I consider it a vestigial feature at this point. It's obsolete. It was just made to solve a problem with the base class itself. Speaking of, Physician's Touch, its 6th level feature, also tries to solve an issue the 5.0 Monk had. 5.0 Monk had low survivability. The Monk used ki to get in and out of attack range safely, and to attack more with Flurry of Blows. But the 5.0 Monk did not have a lot of ki, so once that ki was gone, they were just a marshal with a d8 hit die. You basically were choosing safety or doing more damage, and they didn't deal a lot of damage. So they gained a bad habit of, getting turned into a red paste. Instead of addressing the problems with the base class, WotC, again, just put all the solutions in new subclasses. So they gave Mercy Monk the ability to poison people whenever they use Hand of Harm. The poison lasted until the end of the monk's next turn, and there was no save to resist the poison, which I hate. I hate costless guarantees like WotC hates unions. The whole point of the game is to roll dice for impactful actions, and you ripped that opportunity from me, WotC. Keep your costless guarantees out of my dice game. That is my anathema. I am gonna get that tattooed on my forehead. I swear to Tiamat. Poison creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls. That makes Mercy Monk harder to hit, but that still doesn't sit right with me. One, because using poison is really weird for a guy who calls himself merciful, and it's not even poison that lets you pass away quietly and calmly. No, it just causes harm.
I don't remember when Jesus started poisoning people. That doesn't seem very merciful, gang. 2, this poison feature is so swingy in terms of usefulness. So many creatures are just flat out immune to the poison condition. Undead, constructs, fiends, elementals, and a grab bag of others. So this feature is either useless or very strong and antithetical to a game about rolling dice. Cool. And 3, if you just wanted the creatures to have disadvantage on attack rolls, why didn't you just give them that instead of Hemlock Haymakers? You could just have it like the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls until the end of your next turn. Slap a saving throw on there and it's done. Here's what that feature might look like. Or you got the Sap Weapon Mastery. That gives creatures disadvantage to their next attack roll. Just let their fists be able to use sap. And maybe it can stack. The more times you hit a creature, the more attacks of theirs have disadvantage. Which maybe should be the default for this weapon property, but whatever. Here's what that feature could look like. No saving throw needed on this one. Use either of these 2 features if you want, but I won't be for my version of this subclass because that's not the direction I want to go in. Speaking of directions I didn't want to go in, what is the theme of this subclass? Let's look at the 2014 description for the Way of the Mercy Monk. Monks of the Way of Mercy learn to manipulate the life force of others to bring aid to those in need. They are wandering physicians to the poor and hurt. They travel around the world helping the sick and needy. I love that. Very cool flavor for a mercy monk. However, to those beyond their help, they bring a swift end as an act of mercy. So, if a mercy monk can't heal someone, they euthanize them? You know what, maybe I'm misinterpreting this. Those who follow the Way of Mercy might be members of a religious order, administering to the needy and making grim choices rooted in reality rather than idealism. Okay, that's extremely euthanasia coded. Alright, maybe I'm not being charitable. It's not like these guys are executing people like it's the Purge. Some might be gentle-voiced healers beloved by their communities, while others might be masked bringers of macabre mercies. The walkers of this way usually don robes with deep cowls, and they often conceal their faces with masks, presenting themselves as the faceless bringers of life and death. Okay, they are literally executioners in masks. First of all, macabre mercies to me sounds like they are doing a Mortal Kombat fatality. Don't worry, son. Dr. Jeremy Scorpion is going to put Gam Gam to rest. Second, the flavor text of this subclass is written like a monk that euthanizes patients who are not getting better. Let me remind you, this is printed in a Dungeons and Dragons book. I don't have a problem with people putting euthanasia in their D&D campaigns. I don't even have a problem with it being in a official adventure module. But we can all agree having euthanasia be a core part of the theme of a subclass is weird, right? No one was asking for this. It's such a strange and inappropriate writing choice. Is that unfair? Am I unfairly interpreting this? I really don't think I am. They are wandering physicians to the poor and hurt. However, to those beyond their help, they bring a swift end as an act of mercy. That is deliberately chosen language. They could have wrote those who threaten their patients, or they bring a swift end as an act of mercy to their foes. But no, they chose this. They could have added like 3 words to avoid this, but they didn't because the point was euthanasia. I understand euthanasia can be seen as an act of mercy, but dude, it is a really touchy subject. It is also an extremely controversial one that can start arguments. I don't want to do this at my table. I don't want to bring this up. I came here to have fun. Got any other bangers in your pocket, Watsy? How about abortion warlock? Racial inequality cleric? How about when is the appropriate time to beep at someone lingering at a traffic light even though the light is green? Paladin. And no matter which side of the argument you fall on for euthanasia, it's still sad and depressing, and I'm sure a bunch of you have a pit in your stomach just thinking about this. So why the fuck did Watsy write a hospice care monk subclass into their fucking book? I'll tell you why. They started writing a subclass that was very pacifist coded, realized that would be a bad fit in their game that's mainly centered around slaying monsters, so they added that euthanasia bit. That way they could avoid players making a bunch of pacifist characters. And now we are left with this extremely tone-deaf flavor text. Let me be clear. Do I think you can make a well-written character with strong themes of euthanasia? I think it's possible if done correctly. Do I think a euthanasia-themed subclass should be published in a book mainly used for heroic fantasy and escapism? fucking no! Watsy, what the f are you doing? Stay in your fucking lane. Make a cool fantasy-themed subclass. Just put the fries in the bag, bro. D&D is a goofy game system of fantasy make-believe. You can be serious, but do not print a subclass that reminds me of when I had to put my beagle down, and do not print that in the same book where you have Iron Man and this quote about the wild magic barbarian. I don't recommend letting magic take the reins, but I'm not your mom. Live deliciously. Bazinga. Ugh. Can we burn Tasha at the stake if she writes something cringy enough? Is that legal? I'll drive to Salem if I have to. The writing team is so f***ing terrible, dude. These are the same people that made the Hadozi. You guys remember that? You guys remember the racist foreskin monkeys? I remember the racist foreskin monkeys. I could never forget them. As hard as I try, I cannot forget them. And I'm not saying we should be offended by this flavor text, but I am saying we should mock Watsy for it relentlessly. There is a chance Watsy's intentions were not to paint this subclass this way, and they really were just going for a karate plague doctor. If that's the case, was this really the best flavor text that they could think of? I honestly don't know whether to call them stupid or incompetent. Funnily enough, the 5.5 version of this subclass had shorter flavor text, which is bullshit, by the way. You're paying $50 for a book. I demand you put flavor in this role-playing game, damn it. Because the flavor text of all of the subclasses had to have a smaller word count, they avoided this topic altogether. Good. I'm gonna chalk that up to fortunate coincidence. Watsy does not deserve the benefit of the doubt from me, dude. Euthanasia? What's wrong with the euthanasia? What did the teenagers of Mongolia ever do to you? And the last reason I really dislike this subclass is, we really need to eat the rich. We gotta start living deliciously, dude. Seriously, this subclass was specifically made to finally give fans a good monk experience for a price. Unsatisfied with our other books you already paid for? Want monks to be better? We can do all of that. We will fix our past mistakes, but the fixes are behind a paywall. It's corporate greed and it sucks.
Hey, I gotta ask, where is the real Mercy Monk? I had a bag over my head the entire time you guys were dealing with him, so I don't know what happened.
Why was he the only one that had a bag over his head? Because he's a shadow monk and he can teleport through shadows, but only the shadows he can see. Oh yeah, right. No, that makes sense. Wait, what was your question?
What happened to the Mercy Monk?
Well, a turtle with a sword turned him into bread and then I ate him.
Okay, very funny. What actually happened?
It's like he said, a turtle with a sword turned him into bread and then he ate him.
What are you even talking about?
A turtle with a sword turned him into bread and then I ate him. That's what happened. That's the truth.
Why?
Well, he was trying to steal the power from all the other monks to power a robot to sell people AI slop. This was, of course, after he revealed himself to be the boss of the Beach Wizard. Are you not caught up on the lore?
There is lore in the How You Should Buff series? Since when?
Since the very beginning.
So, the Mercy Monk is gone?
As gone as this morning's breakfast.
So, if there's no Mercy Monk, how are you going to buff it?
The same way I make all of these buff videos. I will just cast Wish. You cast what and how often? Hey guys, I ran out of editing juice while making this video, so I gotta run to the store and get some. So next time, we're gonna be talking about how I would buff Mercy Monk, or nerf it. It's complicated. Well, anyway, if you like this video, hit the like button. It really helps me pay rent, so that's pretty cool of you to do. What'd you guys think of Mario being the leading expert on euthanasia? Nintendo, hit me up. I got ideas.